Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing something really fun. I'm going to be showing you how to solve a Rubik's Cube. Up until last week, I had never even touched a Rubik's Cube, and now I can solve one. And I did that by watching a bunch of YouTube videos. And some of them I feel like glazed over some absolute beginner necessities when solving a cube for the very first time. So my hope with this video is to kind of combine a bunch of things that I learned from different videos into one, so you can just watch this one and hopefully solve your first cube. I will leave a list in the description box of all of the steps and their timestamps, so if you need to go back to something or skip ahead to something, you can just click on the timestamp and it'll take you right to that point in the video. So I want to start off with some absolute cube basics. So if you already know all this, you can go ahead and skip ahead, but I wanted to start off with the cube solved so that I can show you the pieces of the cube. Since it is essentially a puzzle, I want to show you all the pieces and components that make up the cube. So to start off, we have the center pieces. And the center pieces are always going to stay the same. No matter how scrambled you make the cube, no matter if you rotate around, you're just going to be rotating around the center pieces. They're not going to be moving. So you can use those as your anchor pieces, essentially, to know where each colored face is going to end up. Since those center pieces are never going to move, you'll always know that the blue center is going to create the blue face, yellow center will create the yellow face, and so on and so forth. So those pieces are really going to be your home base pieces. The next pieces are the corner pieces, and the corner pieces have 3 colors on them. And then the third type of piece are these center or middle pieces, and they just have 2 colors on them. So now that you understand the anatomy of the cube, if you will, I am going to show you one of the most important algorithms for solving this cube that we'll be using a majority of the time. The best way to hold the cube is to hold your non-dominant hand with your thumb on this bottom left quadrant right here to stabilize the cube while you turn the pieces. I would recommend putting 2 of your fingers on the top here and then your thumb on the bottom to turn so that you leave your forefinger free to push the other sides. So now let's go over the very first algorithm, and it goes like this. It's right face up. You're going to push with your forefinger, push the top clockwise, down, counterclockwise. So just practice that, because that's going to help you solve a majority of the cube. And the left is similar. You're going to go left face up, but this time you're going to push with your left finger counterclockwise, left down, clockwise. And now we're ready to scramble the cube and start solving. Okay, if you're just starting out, I would recommend starting with building a daisy. And the daisy is a yellow center with 4 white squares surrounding it so that it looks like a little flower. And so what you're going to want to do is just search for the yellow center and then start adjusting the cube to get the white surrounding it. So you're going to be looking for white pieces that just have 2 colors on it, like this one right here. This one's pretty easy. We can just twist it up. And there is no algorithm for this. It's just kind of searching the cube to find those. So here's one right here. This one is another one that's relatively easy, because if we just turn it like this, then it is in place. So let's look for another one. There's one right here. So let's try that same method by just turning it, and it would be solved if the white and green were switched. So here's an easy way around that. If you rotate this piece once this way, now it's here, just twist it up. And now it's around. We just have one more left, which is over here. So we're going to want to rotate it. And it's the same issue. So these are swapped. So what you can do is turn it once this way. But since this square is already solved, what you're going to want to do is rotate the top layer once this way to free up a square. And then go like that, and your daisy is solved. Now, once your daisy is solved, you're going to have to match up the petals with their corresponding home base colors. So for example, this one's orange, So we're gonna twist it over to orange. And once it is in its home, we can flip this side all the way down so that white is with white and orange is with orange. And then just do that with each corresponding petal. So we'll do red with red, turn that upside down, green with green, turn that upside down, and blue with blue, turn that upside down, and then once you flip over the cube, you'll have a white cross. And before you move on to the next step, you want to make sure if you build your white cross that the points of the cross are all in their corresponding homes, and all of these are. The next step is to solve for the corners surrounding the white cross. So the way to do that is to make sure that the cross is face down, and we're gonna solve it that way. So the easiest thing to do is to start by looking for pieces on the top row that have white on them. So this is a good example of that. This is white, red, and blue. So what we're gonna wanna do is move it between white, red, and blue. So now we know that this piece is gonna feel at home right here between those three colors. So now that it's in the right place, we can just start with that right algorithm that we learned earlier. That's once, twice, 3 times, and now that piece is at home in all of its respective colored locations. Then we'll just do that again with any other piece that's on top. So for example, this one is now white, blue, and orange. So we'll just move that to between white, blue, and orange. And now we just do the right algorithm again. And there's no telling exactly how many times you'll have to do this until that piece is solved. So you'll just have to keep an eye on it until it is solved. So now it's solved, white with white, orange with orange, blue with blue. So here is another one up here, red, white, and green. So let's move it between white, red, and green. And then we can solve. All right, so now there's just one more corner left, and as you can see, this piece is actually already in the correct location between white, green, and orange. It's just oriented the wrong way, so all we have to do is just do our right algorithm again. And now it's all solved. And if you solved the white face correctly, your bottom row should also be solved. And all the colors should be with their corresponding home base colors. The next step is to solve the rest of the middle row. So we're gonna be solving for these 4 pieces right here. And the way you do that is by looking for pieces on the top row, this one right here, that don't have yellow on them. And remember, we're only looking for these middle pieces right now. We're not doing corners. So you're gonna look for pieces with 2 colors that aren't yellow. Since yellow is on the top, we kind of want to just ignore that for now. So this piece is a good example. It has red and green. So we want to solve this piece, but first we need to take green to its home. So we take it to the green center, and now we can solve for this piece. And the way we do that is by deciding where it needs to go. And just by looking at the cube, we can see it needs to go right here between green and red. So how do we get this piece here? The first thing you're going to want to do is determine if the piece that you're looking for needs to go to the left or the right of the centerpiece. And in our case, it needs to go to the left. So the first thing you're going to do is push it away from where it needs to go. So now it's over here. And then do the algorithm depending on which side it needs to go to. So since we need it to go to the left, we're going to do the left algorithm just once. And if you did it correctly, you'll have a white piece in the upper left-hand corner. Then what you're gonna wanna do is turn the cube just once, 90 degrees the whole cube, until that white piece is in your right hand, and now you're gonna do a right algorithm. So now we put that white piece back at home, and we have that original piece that we were trying to solve for exactly where we wanted it to go. So then we'll just do that again with any of the other colors. And now you might run into this situation where this piece is in the correct spot, but oriented the wrong way. So here's how to solve for that. We're gonna pretend like we need to take this piece and put it here. So how do we do that? We do it the same way we've been doing it, by pushing it away. But this time, since we want it to go to the right, we're gonna use our right algorithm. The white square will be in the upper right-hand corner. So we're gonna turn the cube the other way to the left, do one left algorithm. And now that piece is free for us to solve for. So first thing we need to do is put green back to its home. And now we can solve for this piece just like we've been doing by first pushing it away, doing a right algorithm since it needs to go to the right, rotating the cube, doing one left algorithm, and now that piece is solved. The next step is creating a yellow cross on the top, just like we did with the white cross earlier. And there are a couple of scenarios you might run into with this one. One of them being you have a yellow center with no yellow pieces surrounding it. In that case, you can do this algorithm from anywhere. You might have a yellow horizontal line, or in my case, we have this L shape right here. If you have the L shape, you're gonna wanna orient your cube so that the L shape is in the back left quadrant. And now you can start the algorithm, and it goes like this. You're gonna turn the front face once so that you have this white line over here. Then you're gonna do one right algorithm, and then put that face back. And now, as you can see, we have a yellow horizontal line. If you have a yellow horizontal line, you wanna keep it this way. You don't want the cube vertical, you want it horizontal. And then you're gonna do this one more time. And now we have a yellow cross. The next step is to get the pieces of the yellow cross oriented with their proper homes. So when you reach this stage, you'll either have two faces in their correct spot or four. So since I only have one, that means I need to try rotating it again to see. Here we go. So now we have two. If you have two that are right next to each other, you're gonna wanna hold the cube with those two faces in the back right. If they're across from each other, you can do this from anywhere. But if you have the two that are next to each other, do this from here. And if you have all four already solved, that's great, you'll just skip this step. So this is a new algorithm as well. So for this one, what you're gonna wanna do is turn the right side up, and you'll notice these two pieces right here. You wanna keep an eye on these because these are gonna be traveling together around the cube. So now that they're on top, we're gonna push them over once, and then put the right face back down. Now we're gonna push them over again until they're in the back left corner, opposite from where they started. And then we're gonna turn the right face back up again until we have two white dots. And then we're gonna bring this all the way back until the white line matches up. And then we're gonna bring this down. And now all of your sides should match. And now we can try to get the corner pieces in their correct spots before moving on to the next step. So we're gonna wanna look around to see if any of these corner pieces might be in the correct location, just oriented the wrong way. And it looks like we don't have any. So in this step, you'll either have 0, 1, or 4 corners all in the correct spot. I obviously have 0, so I'm gonna do this algorithm from anywhere. If you have 1, then you're gonna make sure that you do this algorithm with that one piece that's solved in the front right corner. And if you have 4, you can just move on to the next step. So this algorithm is different. It is clockwise, up, counterclockwise, up, clockwise down, counterclockwise down. And let's see, are any of them in the right spot now? Yes, we have 1 now. So we have yellow, red, and blue. So now we're gonna do that again, but we're gonna hold this one in the front right. And now they're all in the right corners. So now we can move on to the next step, which is flipping the cube upside down and solving for the yellow face, which is, of course, solving the cube. So what you're gonna wanna do when you reach this stage is remember which face you're starting with. I'll just start with the orange face since this one is already solved. We can just leave that. I'm gonna start with the orange face. And this piece just needs to be reoriented until the yellow piece is right here. Once you get to this step, a solved piece will be when the yellow is on the yellow face. You're gonna disregard what this looks like for now, since the cube is gonna look very scrambled. It might be confusing, so just know that your piece is solved when yellow is in its home. Okay, so yellow is in its home. And now what you're gonna wanna do is keep the cube oriented this way and just turn the bottom row once. And then you're gonna solve for this piece, and again, it's solved once we have yellow here. So now it's solved, even though as you can see, these are not, doesn't matter. Now we're gonna rotate it once more and solve for that yellow corner. And our cube is now solved. That's it for today. I really hope you enjoyed this video and were able to solve your first cube. If you did, let me know in the comments so we can celebrate. And if you have any friends who you know are trying to solve a cube, send them this video. And if you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate the support, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.